Hello, 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 my beautiful ones, my wise ones, and my melanated ones. Today is Thursday, March the 13th, 2025, and I am Wisdom Reborn. So I hope you had a good couple of days. It has been so beautiful outside. I ain't really been outside a whole lot, but I did get out a little bit the other day. That's not true. I was out yesterday for hours, but excuse me. Yes. And I want to talk about something that happened to me yesterday. Now, this is a disclaimer. My disclaimer is that I feel like teaching today. And in my teaching, I'm going to show you how you recognize a monitoring spirit. And how you recognize that who you're dealing with and how you can protect your energy. Because yesterday something happened to me that I am very happy with the way that I handled it. I'm super happy with the way that I handled it, which means that there is definitely still some spiritual growth that is going on, some levels of maturity that are going on within my life. And it's also going to give me the opportunity to share that so that it could become an experienced teacher that you didn't have to deal with the experience about. There we go. So, as I tell stories and situations and circumstance, I'm going to try very, very hard not to mention names. I'm going to try hard. The reason I don't want to mention names is because I absolutely understand these situations from multiple angles. I have probably been in each one of the situations that I discuss. I would almost say all of the situations that I discussed. I've been on both sides of the coin, and sometimes I've been on multiple sides of the cube, because we know that everything is not two-dimensional, one-dimensional. But nonetheless, let me keep going. So I have this saying, and when I say this, I am definitely not trying to question anyone's religion. I am not trying to deter or make you reconsider your religion. But what I am trying to do is stimulate you spiritually. And spirituality and religion are totally different. Spiritual people understand that everyone has different spiritual experiences. And because there is a presumed lack of judgment, we generally don't question how someone else perceives their experience, as long as it is the truth. As long as it is the truth, and as long as it can be backed up to some degree. The difference between spiritual people and religious people, however, though, religious people feel like their religion is cut dry. It's the only thing. There is nothing else. There is no room for change. There is no room for any fluctuation. It is solid. It is. That's it. No room for any other experiences. Therefore, if you would like to learn something spiritually, I would suggest that you stick around for the next few minutes. But if you are afraid that this may touch your or disagree with your religion, then I would advise you to go ahead and leave. So in saying that, everyone knows that I call the Son of God, or God in human form, that came to the earth to teach us lessons, Yeshua. So I do not like the name Jesus, and there's a reason why. The reason why is my name is Renee, and if you call me Regina, I might let you get away with it once or twice, but if you keep calling me the wrong name, I have to correct you, or I assume the name of that individual, because I feel like I am authentic. Ooh, y'all see that? Because I feel like I know that I am authentic, then I know that the authenticity, the originality, the individuality that is within me, I respect that and I give it to others. So I call people by their names. And I know that the name Jesus is transliterated, which means Yeshua could have very easily been translated to Joshua. Instead, it was not. It was changed to Jesus. But that's my thought process. However, when I hear people say all the time, I love Jesus. I don't care what color he is, red, green, purple, orange. I love Jesus. I love Jesus. I love Jesus. I love Jesus. I always say I am slow to trust those people. And the reason why I say I'm slow to trust those people is because Jesus, hypothetically, is love. And love is not boastful, and love does not brag, and love is not prideful, and love does not put itself above someone or above something in order to make itself look big. It's not puffed up. And so if you walk in love and you believe in Jesus, yes, I say Yeshua. For now, I say Yeshua. So if you walk under the love of the Christ, because I think we all agree that he is Christos. If we walk under the love and the covenant of the Christ, then love presents itself in very specific ways. And when you do something and you're screaming, I love Jesus, but your actions don't reflect love, then I have to question your level of commitment. Now, I said all of that to say, I saw someone, yesterday was a beautiful day out. I took my uncle to the VA. And I just took him, I went with him. I wanted to go so I could hear what the doctors say, because my uncle is a stroke victim. He's had multiple brain injuries, and it's very hard for him to communicate sometimes. So he doesn't have a problem with necessarily understanding what you're saying to him. However, he does have a problem with expressing what he thinks to someone else. We're going to leave it there. At the VA, we walked around the VA, went to the doctor. I met a couple of his doctors. When he got lab work, we laughed and talked with the security people who know him. Everybody at the VA office told me how much they love my uncle. His doctor, before he left, seeing his primary care doctor, she said, I love you and I can't wait to see you again next time. While we were talking, during the midst of the exam, she asked me if I had any questions, and I did have questions. And I started asking her the questions, and she said, you know what? Your uncle is so blessed. There are so many brain injury victims that don't recover as well as he has. He has some shortcomings, but his overall ability to take care of himself, to communicate, is so much better than I've seen a lot of people who went through much less than him. I was happy to hear that. My uncle is my father's baby brother. He is so loving, caring at this stage in his life. He's humble. He's very humble at this stage in his life. And I keep saying that because it's a backstory to everything. It's not for me to share his backstory, but at this stage in his life, that man is humble and sweet and kind, and I love him dearly. So as we were leaving, one of these security guys asked my uncle, or says something like, is that your wife? And I was like, no, I'm not his Why? He is too old for me. I'm a young woman. So we were laughing and joking. And then as we continued to leave, another security guard was walking along with us, and he was making little comments. So it was fun. It was fun. It was innocent. It was fun. We were still laughing and talking about it as we crossed the street to go into the parking lot. And a familiar face was approaching me. And as that familiar face came into view, I said to myself, keep walking. And I did. I kept walking, but when that person got about 2 feet behind me, they said, don't I know you? I turned my head around and I said, yes, you do. And I kept walking because I was trying very hard to give that energy that I know that that person carries around with them a level of distance. And the reason I was distancing myself from that person is because the last 3 or 4 interactions that I've had with that person have left me, my energy level, at a place that I didn't want to deal with anymore. Didn't want to deal with it. No, not at all. So I said, way to go, Renee. You know, as I'm walking by, way to go. And then I hear, hey, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. That person had turned around, got to get my attention. I wasn't walking back because I'm not giving this individual any energy. So I stood where I was standing, and that individual approached me, and that individual said to me, did you know a close friend of ours had a medical emergency and is in the hospital? And I said, of course I did. Have you been to see that individual yet? I said, no, I have not. That person told me, a lot of us have been over there to see that individual, and that individual can't talk. And I said, I am very much aware of that, but I said, no, I didn't. I said, I'm aware, but the family has been notified that that individual will make a 100% recovery. And then the person who I was trying to avoid because I knew the energy that that person was bringing, said to me, oh, I was just wanting to let you know that a lot of us went to visit your family member in the hospital. And I said, oh, well, it seems to me like you were trying to let me know that that individual can't currently speak. Now, my uncle asked me, why was I so rude? I can't believe you was that rude with that person. And I said to my uncle, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And with that individual, that's a Maya Angelou quote, as a matter of fact, I said, and that individual has shown me at least 3 times to trust who they are. And my uncle bust out laughing. He said, well, if you said it like that, I know it's got to be true. Now I'm going to tell y'all something. I don't know if that individual was intentionally speaking ill over the family member that is in the hospital. I don't think that they were doing it intentionally. I think that that individual was doing it inadvertently, and that just because of, I think that that individual was just going in regular motion because that's what that individual always does. And maybe no one has ever told that individual that this, my dear, my sir, my friend, is a problem. Because we are supposed to be building people up, building each other up. And to me, tell me if I'm wrong, but to me, when you go and visit someone because they're sick, you go and visit them because you want to wish them well. But my grandmother used to say, Don't let people come see me while I'm in the hospital, because the only thing that people want to do is come and see you so they can go back and tell everybody else how bad you're doing. And I would say to my grandmother, why would you say that? And she said, because people are people, and that's what they do. I personally wish that we would stop with just being people. Because the actual the actual truth of the matter is that we are spirits in a human body. And as being spirits in a human body, our first priority should be making sure that our spirit is aligned and connected to what is right, to what is upholding, what is uplifting, what is beautiful, what is kind, what is friendly, what is loving, all of those good things. Especially when you walk around and you say you love Jesus. Especially when you are a person that is trying to spread good news to others. Because to me, there is no good news in saying I went to the hospital to visit someone and that person is not speaking. I did not, in that brief interaction, gather that that person was going to say such a thing. I was shocked. I really was shocked. But this is how you recognize monitoring spirits, because monitoring spirits focus on communication. I'm going to tell you how this monitoring spirit has spent this story, and I'm going to tell you how you've spent the story before, and I'm going to tell you how others have spent the story on you. That monitoring spirit recognized that I was going to walk past and not say anything. Hey, don't I know you? The old me would have said, now you know good and well you know me. The new me said, yes, you do. Kept walking. When that person stopped, because we probably had took 20 steps, 25 steps, which means that person had took possibly 25 steps in their direction. And so that person had to come all the way back to where we were to get my attention to say, we went to the hospital to visit them. A lot of us did. Was that line of communication to make that person feel better or to make me feel worse because I haven't been there? It doesn't matter one way or the other, because I don't like hospitals, and I think that when people are recovering, they need to have rest, and I don't think people need to be going in and out of the hospital room, especially no whole bunch of people going in and out of the hospital room, especially right now because it's flu season, it's RSV going around, it's this new type of COVID that's going around. So I feel like anyone who goes to the hospital to visit someone in the hospital should have a direct connection with that person. A intimate connection with that person. A connection with that person to know that you are willing to possibly get sick and bring it back home and make it your whole family sick for going to visit that person. Hospital visits ain't my thing. Let me just put it like that. Unless I am connected to a person, and unless I feel like I am really, really, really being nudged by the universe to go see that person in the hospital. Or unless that person calls for me, which has happened several times. Now, the communication of he can't talk may be a true fact. However, I feel like it is also a spell. I do. I do, because it implies, matter of factly, what's going on. Now, we don't understand the power of our words, or at least we act like we don't. Because when we say something, it goes out into the atmosphere and it rings and rings and rings and rings forever. And just in case there is a level of deficiency in that person's life, in that person's circumstance or situation, whether it be mental or whether it be physical, that those words can come back and attach themselves to that person, that could be detrimental for that individual. So we really, 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 really need to watch the negative things that we say about people. That individual didn't say to me, that person wasn't talking yesterday, but I hope they have a full recovery. They didn't say, they look good. They didn't say, the individual that I spoke to at the VA on yesterday did not say, I'm wishing him a speedy recovery. That person said what that person meant to say. And I'm calling them out anonymously, because we got to stop. That was an experience that I have experienced before multiple times. That is an experience that I have experienced before on both sides of the coin. I have been on three sides of the coin. I have been the person in the hospital that people said things about when my gallbladder ruptured, and I didn't know what it was, and nobody knew what it was, and that was horrible. And then, yeah. And so people talked about that and was like, well, whatever. I have also been the person to know that somebody was not doing well and that someone was having a health scare and went and shared information that I should not have shared, which is a HIPAA violation. In all honesty, it is. It's the report of a symptom that someone has in reference to an illness, so it affects their medical documentation eventually. Nonetheless, that's why I'm keeping this anonymous. But I'm also keeping it anonymous because when that person hears this from this point of view, maybe that person will look within and understand the lack of empathy that they showed. Because that person was talking to me about that right there, leaving the VA with my uncle who has had multiple brain injuries, who has difficulty communicating. Yep. Yep. I'm sure that person meant absolutely I don't know if that person meant harm. I can't say that. But that's what monitoring spirits do. They offer a whole lot of communication that's not positive. Now, That's what monitoring spirits do. So I can imagine, and I can only imagine, that that person who watches me very closely on social media, on all of my social medias, but is not a friend. But that is not the point. The point of the matter is that this is a situation that we've all experienced and we've all played some part of these situations that I'm bringing up front. Now, to me, it really doesn't matter who the character is. It matters the role. So characters can be interchanged and changed as someone else learns the role, as someone else picks up, part of the storyline. So a character can change at any time. The important thing about the things that I share with y'all are going to be the roles. The roles that other people played as well as the roles that we play. As well as the ability to understand if we have played this or that or the other particular role ever in life. As we play roles, the storyline changes because the role should know. So this is a thought for me. Actors who play a specific type of role, find themselves being offered that same kind of role over and over again, especially if they do very well in it. Most actors, though, however, don't like taking a specific role type because they understand it minimizes the amount of roles that they'll be eligible for. So once they successfully complete one role, they want to move on to something different. As they move on to something different, it increases the value of their resume, of their portfolio. As people who play different roles in different situations and circumstances, as you are growing, you should want your role to change. And if you're always in the same role, maybe you need to change the type of responses that you're giving in your roles so that people won't keep presenting you with the same role. Did y'all get that? As a monitoring spirit, though, let me get back to that. That monitoring spirit is going to say, she's always talking about raising the vibration, and she's always talking about making us coming together. She's always going to talk about that. But she was rude, and she was short, and she treated me like I was invaluable. And the only thing that I can say to that individual is, yes, I am always talking about raising the vibration. Had I entered into the level of conversation that you were offering me, my frequency would have immediately been depleted to almost nothing. I don't want to talk about the negative in anyone's life if I'm not helping them turn it to positive. I send out positive vibrations to people because I know the frequency in which I present myself can do one of two things. It can elevate your frequency or it can lower it. When we understand that our energy is the most valuable currency that we have, then we will be much, much more mindful on who we allow into our energy and who we share our energy with. It's simple, y'all. It is very simple. When you take the time to sit back and reflect upon how things affect you, how you felt in the midst of that thing happening, what you would have liked to be different in the interaction or in the end result, the role that you played in the scene, the changes that you would have made or that you would have made, because hindsight should always be 20/20. When you stop and you look back at something, you should always be able to see it more clearly. And when you see it more clearly, it should change your level of knowledge. And when you know better, you do better. So monitoring spirits are known for watching what others do so that they can move the words around to see how their words can make others react. Whether that would be me reacting in a level of acceptance when the "hey, do I know you?" saying, "now you know me," takes my energy to a totally different place than "yes, you do. I answered your question. I wasn't rude. Yes, you do." The giving me a true but somewhat negative report on someone's health could have very easily opened up the door to begin asking questions or to begin talking to that individual about someone else's health, when all I truly want is for that person to get well, to have a full recovery. Knowing that I heard from another family member that that person will have a full recovery, and thank you for the good report, tells me where I need to be sent, what kind of energy I need to be sending. And so since I know what kind of energy I need to be sending, I can stand firmly on that person's going to have a full recovery. Period. There's no need in talking about it. And if you're true, you're absolute true. I'm sorry, this incense is just a little strong. My throat is dry, my eyeballs is dry. Excuse me. When you really wanted to make me aware, or had you only wanted to make me aware that several people have all met up to go visit that individual, you would have, I think, I may not be right, but I think the proper thing to do would have just been to say we went to see that person in the hospital. I don't know. I probably would not have even said, the level of relationship that I have to have with someone to let someone know that I went to visit someone because we have a mutual person, to let them know that I went to visit that one in the hospital would probably be very slim, because to me, going to visit someone in a hospital is an intimate act. It is an act that you definitely want that person to do better, and you're going to the hospital to support that person, not to come back out here in these streets and let people know me went to the hospital to visit that particular person. I don't know, but what I do know is when we have good intentions, for the people that we interact with, for the people that we go and visit, for the people that mean something to us, we present them and we present ourselves in a different way. So when you present yourself at a level of authenticity, at a level of truth, and in a manner, in a posture of love, then what people think about your actions to one another kind of don't mean so much to you, because when you're authentic and you're true and you show up in love, then you know your intentions and your actions and your words are different. And they don't require the acceptance or the acknowledgement of others, because you did them from a place that only needs to affect you and the person you were interacting with. And when that bond or that interaction has a solid foundation, it'll affect others and you won't even have to do or say anything about it, because it'll raise the frequency, it'll raise your vibration. And my goal is that my energy level affects people when I walk into a room before I even say a word, before I even lock in eye contact with anyone. Because when your level of energy is how you are introduced to people, or affects how people receive you, then you don't have to be concerned with whether they know the backstory or not. Because the backstory will have affected you so much till you respect someone else's backstory, because you know what yours was or what yours is. Wow. I don't know. Love just looks to me differently, I guess, than it looks to other people. And because we think that love is something that we earn or something that has to be earned, it makes it so much more difficult for us to give and receive. When you understand that love is an action, period. When you understand that it is an action, then I think we will understand how it affects the roles. Wow. I am so thankful that I can recognize a monitoring spirit now. I am so thankful that the Most High has shown me how communication is so mishandled, to the point that we cast spells on people and we speak down on people, and we do it and we don't even pay attention to what we're doing. And we say out loud with our mouths that our intentions are good because we love Jesus, no matter what color he is, no matter what his name is, it doesn't matter. Therefore, when we do something wrong, we can say Jesus paid it all, and we can flip the story around, and we can be judgmental to the other person, and we don't even understand that it was our character that was in the role. Wow. I think that was a very good, it taught me some things. It taught me a whole lot. I hope it teaches you. It taught me that I have gotten to a level to where I pay attention to my discernment more. It taught me that if I walk in discernment, then I understand that I can't pass judgment, because discernment will show me where I played this role before, to where I am now the type of character that wants a different role. So in order to walk or portray a different role, I have to master the previous role and not fall victim or not fall captivated by the ability or the option or the opportunity to talk about somebody. Even though the individual presented themselves searching for a level of communication about someone that that individual knows I love and care for. Not even knowing that the individual that I'm with right now is a testimony of the very same or a very similar situation. Therefore, when I get the report from a family member that that person is going to make a 100% recovery, I see the individual that I'm with right now in a very similar or having surpassed and been victorious over a very similar situation. I can stand on the truth and say that person's going to make a 100% recovery. And knowing that my uncle sometimes gets frustrated because he can't communicate, I can still see where his recovery is moving towards a 100% recovery. Our time is not the same as the time that the Most High views. It's not. It's not. His time is perfect timing. Whether it is that you finally learn to recognize when someone is taking an opportunity to drain you of your energy, and instead of draining you of your energy, you actually are refilled with energy because you knew how to hold on to your energy in that situation. But monitoring spirits aren't smart enough to understand that when you recognize one of them, it's easy for you to recognize them all the time. So as you listen to this story or this scenario, pay attention to the roles that you played, because we've all played multiple roles in this scene. And give yourself a pat on the back if you've mastered this role and your character has moved up to a more progressive role. Y'all, this is so, it is so invigorating. It's like I get a burst of, I really do. It's like I get a new life. Like I jumped the timeline. I was able to successfully complete a task that was put before me. And in completing that task, I see growth. And it feels good and it makes me happy. And I know that there are so many of y'all out there that are doing the exact same thing. And it makes me feel good. Now, I hope that the story that I told, the scenario that I shared, doesn't make anyone offended. If it does, everything in my story was anonymous except me and my Uncle Wayne. And he said, tell the people this. And yes, he said it just like that. Because he enjoys me, he enjoys watching me talk about the things that I talk about. And he sees something in me that he had to tell me he saw in me. And it felt good. It feels good. It makes it, I can tell the vibration is changing. And when we understand that our actions help to determine the reactions and the interactions that we have with others, we understand and we look at things from a different point of view. And we understand that the world won't get no better if we just let it be. So we got to learn to say something sometimes. And I'm glad that I could say something today. I'm glad that those experiences happened to me because I don't mind sharing. I don't mind. I remember on the flip side, I remember I found out someone was sick And I went on telling people, well, they're sick and this and that and this and that, and that person passed away in that ordeal. And I had to stop and I had to go back and think of how my words could have affected that person's recovery, because they could have. Because the power of life and death is in all of our tongues. All of our tongues. And once we put it out in the atmosphere, it's just circling out in the atmosphere, waiting for an opportunity to become truth. Because a lie can't become truth, but it hopes to. I'm being silly, y'all. This incense, I took allergy medicine today. The first time I've taken allergy medicine since the weather has changed. And the only reason I really took it was because I washed my hair and I was like, I'm going outside, so I don't want to take cold medicine. So let's see if I can fight off some of these allergies in advance. And then I remembered that it's daylight savings time. And so we lost an hour of sleep, and it takes me at least 3 weeks to adjust to the time change. Every time the time changes. I can't stand it. Honestly, I just can't stand it. I understand, but I can't stand it. I hope that my sharing was helpful. I really do. I really do. This is therapeutic for me. And I hope that it's therapeutic and it's instrumental for you. So on this beautiful Thursday, March 13th, 2025, Wisdom Reborn would just like to say, think about it. Let's think about the power of our words. Let's think about the roles that we play. And let's think about how our character plays such a big part in the roles that we're given. So that is a notice of words, of wisdom, of kindness, of love, of truth, and a scream begging you for authenticity from Wisdom Reborn. But especially, it's for my beautiful ones, my wise ones, and my melanated ones. But especially for the beautiful, wise, and melanated ones. Y'all have a good one.